There are so many supreme devils on the Qliphoth tree that have yet to be revealed, not to mention there are most likely high-ranking devils within the underworld too. But what we all want to know is what kind of magic do they use? Well, this is going to be the beginning of a series where I speculate the potential devil magic attributes we'll see in the future. I'll discuss one magic attribute and the potential it has in each video, along with where I estimate which level we could potentially see this magic attribute come from. And today's devil magic attribute will be disease magic or plague magic. I can see it being called either or. But where in the Qliphoth could it appear? Well, to be honest, I can only see one supreme devil right now, and it's Belphegor, also known as the toilet demon. He would be located at level 4 of the Qliphoth tree. Toilet demons are known for bringing forth diseases and other small-scale calamities. So I thought this right here is the perfect match for black clover. So disease magic is what I predict Belphegor's magic will be when he appears. But anyways, let's talk about the basis for disease magic. This would be the power to infect things, be it humans, animals, or even, objects. The devil would be able to decide how the disease spreads and travels, whether it's by touch, by air, or even by water, liquids. Now, that's cool and all, but in the world of magic, how can this be worthy of a devil? What are the results of these infections? Well, let's start with something basic like whether it's germs, bacteria, viruses, whatever the case may be. Now, one type of disease this devil can give to others is Alzheimer's. And for those who don't know what that is, it's essentially just a condition that would cause confusion or watching one's memory deteriorate over time. So this disease would just cause confusion and memory deterioration in black clover. Another kind of disease that can cause harm is the plague, which can cause fevers, headaches, vomiting, affecting your bowels, and a bunch of other uncontrollable systems. The bubonic plague is mainly spread by infected fleas from other small animals. Although in black clover, that is a spell that might need a grimoire. Imagine something similar to Zogred, summoning those monsters from the underworld which devour life force. Well, I imagine that a devil with disease magic could summon creatures that spread diseases on its behalf. That would require a grimoire. Another disease I can see being caused is the influenza, which mainly would be used to drain one's stamina. Although in black clover, this could just be a disease that drains the user's magic, since magic and stamina are tied together. So when one is running low on mana, their stamina starts to deplete as well. Moving on to a more dangerous scenario would be a disease that can rot the body from the inside. I think of something like Fugo from JoJo Bizarre Adventures, if you've seen that, whose stand can use viruses to destroy bodies from the inside. Next, for black clover, I wonder if there can be a disease that can take control of your body and control your actions, whether you're alive or even dead. I don't think that it should be too far-fetched. I mean, we've seen Megicula use curses to revive the dead. I think she won't be the only devil to use necromancy. Speaking of Megicula, she also had a curse that could heal herself. Now, I don't think a devil with disease magic would have a spell that could heal itself up. I just don't see it. And lastly, this should be the most obvious, as we were in one in real life, and it's a pandemic. A widespread disease that potentially spreads throughout the magic continent. So will we see a variant of COVID-19 in black clover? That would be somewhat funny if Tabata created his own pandemic through disease magic in black clover. Now, before we continue, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be notified when a new black clover video drops. Much appreciated. But let's continue. If there comes a time in the future where disease magic appears, then let me be the first to tell you who will be involved. Gordon. Why? Well, you probably don't remember since it was a long time ago, but when Gordon went back home to learn about curses, his father mentioned that he would also teach him the secret arts that deal with poison, plague, and death, and not just curses. So we can expect devils that use those 3 magic attributes in the future, and expect Gordon to be involved in the cure for those affected by those magic attributes. Okay, moving on. Now let's talk about the devil's magic embodiment. For those who don't know what I mean by magic embodiment, an example would be when Lilith and Nama became intangible elements. In other words, Nama's body became fire and Lily of Body became ice and attacks passed through them, kind of like Logia's in One Piece. Or Lucifero having the presence of the Devil King spell on passively as the fight went on. Since Lucifero's body can't become gravity, then he can surround himself with it. I assume Beelzebub can do something similar with spatial mana domination as a passive spell, and magic embodiment, which would be taking control of the space and the radius and interfering with it. Lastly, we've also seen it from Zogred as well, when he spawned a bunch of mouths on his body to cast word magic spells. And with that being said, what would be the magic embodiment of disease magic? To become a disease? Or maybe actively surround yourself with them, meaning that if you get too close to this devil, you risk becoming infected. I imagine something like this devil being surrounded by like a mist, or constantly emitting this mist, and it infects others if one gets too close to it. So that's what I envision for its magic embodiment. And speaking of infections, remember how Lilith and Nama have the powers to affect concepts, intangible concepts, so Nama can burn everything while Lilith can freeze everything? Well, if that's the case, then a devil with disease magic should be able to infect everything. Spells that are infected become weaker or just flat out destroyed. Simple enough, right? Okay, that caps off the first video in this series on potential devil magic we could see in the future. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to add anything you feel would be applicable to this magic attribute, and we'll just jot them down in the comments and we can reference them in the future if it indeed comes true. Okay, peace out.